Good morning, I'm Tina Dixons. I didn't have what you might call a perfect childhood. I grew up in Brooklyn with a highly abusive alcoholic mother and a younger sister with fetal alcohol disorder. My sister Crystal and I were like two little lost children in a bad fairy tale. Lost in an ugly world of inebriated adults, we grew up in the party house. There were always strange men in the house, and my mother would be drunk and pretty much out of it most of the time. At about the age of 4 or 5 years old, I began to be abused. First by stepbrothers, and then by uncles, and then by cousins. I took care of Crystal while she had her seizures, and my mom was out partying or out cold on the couch. It was no life for a child. Around the age of 13, all this violence and instability really began to get old. So one day I said to my mother, "I'm getting tired of you." And she said, "Really?" She dragged me to the window and she said, "Well then fine, you're out of here." My mother threw me out of the window. My arm got caught on the guardrail and it helped to break the fall. However, it split my arm wide open, and today I still carry the scars. A neighbor took me to the hospital. The Bureau of Child Welfare placed me into a foster home, but there, again, I was abused, so I ran away to the streets. I was 14, homeless, and I never had a place to stay. So as time went on, I slept on rooftops, in hallways, in parks, and on the train. I began to use drugs, and I went from alcohol to coke to crack, and then heroin. I survived by prostituting because I was too afraid to rob anyone. I wore really huge high heels, and my trademark is I wore a really big pink wig. So for 10 years, I did not have a place to lay my head. The only time I would have a bed was when I got arrested and went to Rikers Island. But ironically, the luckiest day of my life began with being robbed and beaten. My head was bleeding pretty badly, but instead of calling the police or going to the hospital, I went out to buy drugs and I got arrested. And I wound up in front of Judge Alex at the Red Hook Community Justice Center. And he said I could do 30 days in jail or 6 months at a drug treatment facility. Now, I already had been arrested over 21 times, so I could serve 30 days in jail very easily. I'd take the jail time and get a bed. But this judge was different. He got angry with the people in the courtroom, not at me, the defendant, but at them. And he said, "Are you people crazy? This woman keeps showing up in our courtroom, and it's obvious that she needs help." Then he turned to me and he said, "Do you realize the condition you're in? Do you understand that you're going to die?" And his words really got to me. When I stopped and looked at myself, I was 90 pounds. I had sores and scabs on my face, caked blood over me. My hands and feet were swollen. I was shaking, throwing up, and I was going through withdrawal from being in a precinct overnight. But there was something about the fact that he was so concerned about me. So I took his offer and I went into drug treatment. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. While I was there, Judge Alex would call me weekly for encouragement. So I kept working hard at my treatment. There were a lot of tears and a lot of screaming, a little chair throwing, well, maybe a lot of chair throwing. But eventually, I was able to understand about my addiction. I was able to understand that I was a survivor of violence and sexual abuse. And finally, I was able to speak about the many things that I had not been able to speak about for many, many years. So while I was there, I was assigned to work as a clerk at the dental department at Phoenix House. And the director at that time came up to me and said I was doing a great job. And she thought she recognized me. She said, "You're that lady who has that pink wig under the L train." Busted. Each morning, as I was coming off of the night shift and she was going to work, she used to see me and she remembered me. And then she did something that I will never forget. She offered to help me pay with school and gave me a job. That's right, she believed in me too, just like Judge Alex did. I got my college diploma. I was promoted by the dental director now, Dr. Tyler Grosso, who promoted me. Thank you, Dr. Grosso. Thank you very much. And now I am the regional coordinator for Phoenix House, and I help assist Dr. Grosso manage all of the dental clinics for New York. And the icing on the cake, I got accepted to an MBA program, and I started in the fall at Post University. At my job, I met the love of my life, Yuli. And I knew there was only one person in this world who should perform that ceremony. So I asked Judge Alex, and he did it. That's right. That's right. That's right, the judge that was going to send me to jail walked me down the aisle. So I have been clean for 11 years now. But I know that I did not get clean for myself. I got clean because I didn't want to disappoint them, the people that believed in me when no one else did. And I came here this morning because Robin Hood believed in Judge Alex and the wonderful life-saving work that they're doing at the Red Hook Justice Community Center. You believed in them when no one else did. You were there for them so that they could be there for me and thousands like me. Thank you so much for believing in possibility. And thank you so much for being there for those two lost little girls, because by helping me, you helped my sister. When my mother passed away, I was able to gain custody of Crystal. And she had suffered years of damage by being locked in a room for 15 years. And she was afraid of people. So my husband and I took her in, and oh my God, today she is amazing. After we got her into counseling and speech therapy, now she's like a social butterfly. You can't keep her at home, and she loves talking to people now. So we were able to find a group home where there are 10 other women for her, and they're all now her new BFFs. And it's a beautiful place, and she's so happy, so thank you. I live just a mile down the road from her, and I love my house. I love the quiet beauty of the community. I love the lawn, and yes, it may sound silly, but it's true. I especially love my huge king-size bed. My very own bed, finally. So in the end, I realized that I am surrounded by beauty and people who love me. And when people hear my story, they seem to only remember the ugly parts, but I seem to prefer to see the beauty in it. And I just want to say to you, Judge Alex, and all those who have been there for me, thank you for letting me see that life is truly beautiful, full of wonderful, caring people. That's why I stand here in front of you this morning, and I know that this is just the start of another beautiful day. And I can never repay for what you have done for me, but I can remind you of something. As you leave here this morning and you're rushing back to work, stop for just 1 second and remind yourself just how beautiful life really is. Thank you.